All right, so today we're going to take a look at the irregular verb eo, ire, iwi, item. And this verb means to go. Eo, I go, ire, to go, iwi, I went, right? Irregular in English as well. And then item, which we're not going to really get into exactly a base translation of that quite yet. All right, and so there are a couple key rules, and this slide is pretty much going to cover most of the auxiliary information you need to know, the tips, the major things to keep in mind when we're dealing with the verb eo. First off, it's intransitive, to go, right? Which means that it can't take a direct object. I can't go a table. And in the same respect, I can't make it passive. I can't say I. You can't go yourself either, right? So you can't receive the action. The subject can't receive the action of the verb, so it can't be passive. Secondly, the present, indicative, and subjunctive are irregular, and it's really hard. There's not really a hard and fast rule to remember them. So those are going to be our elbow grease tenses that we're going to have to just kind of spend a little time memorizing and then using, putting into context, maybe creating some small sentences for ourselves to gain some comfort translating them and recognizing them. However, fortunately in the future and imperfect tenses, we can use a pattern. However, the slight twist here is that unlike the other irregular verbs we've learned, eo, ire, iwi, item actually uses first and second conjugation futures and imperfect, which means we have bo bis bit and instead of am es et, and then we have bom bas bot, and instead of a bom a bas a bot. And then next up, imperfect subjunctive is entirely regular. So remember, the regular rule for that is we attach the endings onto the second principal part. So irem, ires, iret is the imperfect subjunctive. And then the perfect system, good old faithful perfect system, perfect, future perfect, and pluperfect forms are entirely regular. And of course, there isn't really a common passive version of these as well. So we just go to that. We're mainly going to be using that third principal part, iwi, dropping the I and attaching our endings, both for the indicative and for the subjunctive. All right, so moving forward, let's take a look at the present first. And if we look at the present, it's fairly straightforward. Eo is it, imos itis eant. It almost looks like the endings of a third conjugation verb without any stem, except for in the first and the third plural. So it's bookended nicely. Remember, if you can remember that the first word and the last word actually start with E, all the others start with I with a macron. Then in the subjunctive, when we look at that, it is eam, eas, ead, eamos, eam, adiatis, eant, which is easy if you can remember the first form, right? As long as you can remember eam is the subjunctive, present subjunctive of eo, you're all set, because the other forms are just your classic active endings. OSD must descend, MSD must descend. But the key thing is being able to remember. So you got to remember eam. A good way to remember this is remember perhaps eat id, which is a classic song everybody loves, big hit from Frozen. Eat id. Anyone guess what it means? Let it go. Let it go. Oh, you know what? I should have sang it. I should have sang eat id, and then maybe you would have been able to get it. Have another chance to get it at least. So remember saying eat id to yourself a couple times, and remember that eat is the present subjunctive of eo, to go. And so eat id is let it go, volative subjunctive. All right, moving forward, imperfect and future, we already talked about this. Now you can see it again, ibam, ibasabat, ibo, ibisabit. And we also talked about the imperfect subjunctive, which you can find on page 226 of your textbook in its full form, so if you want to just see it on a page. But yep, So as long as we remember that AO is irregular for irregulars in the sense that it has first and second conjugation future bobis bit as opposed to the third conjugation future ames, et, that nolo, wolo, malo, pharaoh, and fio all share. And finally, infinitives and participles. Nice thing about EO is because it's intransitive, we don't have to really worry about any of those passive forms. So we're really only talking about a couple forms here, and they're totally regular. Second principal part, ire. For the perfect active, to have gone. We go again to the third principal part and attach isse, so iwisse. Future, we add a UR into that fourth principal part to make it iterum esse, to be about to go. And then the only participle that we can form, because we haven't learned the present tense participle yet, is the future active participle, iteras which is just a future active infinitive minus the essay. All right, hope this helped. A little walkthrough, and I'll see you in class.